the whispering woods. The woods were alive, a primordial pulse throbbing beneath their canopy, a dark heart beating in the chest of nature. Their tendrils reached out, clawing at the edges of his consciousness, pulling him deeper into their sinister embrace. Jack wasn't a believer in the supernatural. He was a man of science, a skeptic who dismissed tales of the unexplained. Yet, as he stood at the edge of the woods, a shiver ran down his spine. He was drawn to them, compelled by an inexplicable force. The woods were ancient, their gnarled trees seeming to whisper secrets in the wind. The undergrowth was thick and tangled, a labyrinth of shadows and hidden dangers. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting eerie patterns on the forest floor. As Jack ventured deeper into the woods, the silence became oppressive. The only sounds were the rustling of leaves and the occasional snap of a twig. He felt watched, as if unseen eyes were following his every move. He came across a clearing, a circle of ancient oaks. In the center of the clearing was a stone altar, covered in strange symbols and carvings. A chill ran down his spine as he approached it. Suddenly, he heard a noise, a low, guttural growl that seemed to come from deep within the woods. He turned, his heart pounding in his chest. There, in the shadows, he saw a pair of glowing red eyes. The creature that emerged from the darkness was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was tall and gaunt, with long skeletal limbs. Its skin was pale and translucent, revealing a network of veins beneath. Its face was a mask of horror, with sharp, pointed teeth and empty, black sockets. The creature lunged at Jack, its claws outstretched. He dodged, barely escaping its grasp. He turned and ran, his legs burning with exertion. The creature pursued him, its howls echoing through the woods. Jack stumbled and fell, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The creature was upon him, its claws inches from his face. Just as it was about to strike, something happened. The ground beneath the creature began to shake. The trees groaned and creaked as if caught in a storm. A blinding light filled the clearing, and the creature let out a blood-curdling scream. When the light faded, the creature was gone. Jack was left alone in the clearing, trembling and exhausted. He looked up at the sky, the stars twinkling above him. He had survived, but at what cost? As he made his way back to the edge of the woods, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The woods seemed different, as if they had been changed by the encounter. He never returned to the woods. The memory of what he had seen there was too much for him to bear. The woods were a place of darkness and danger, a place where nightmares were born. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he ventured deeper into the woods. The oppressive silence was broken only by the eerie creaking of branches and the rustling of leaves beneath his feet. The sunlight, once dappled and warm, now seemed to cast long, ominous shadows that seemed to dance and writhe. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead as he realized he was lost. The familiar landmarks had disappeared, replaced by a labyrinth of twisted trees and dense undergrowth. A sense of dread washed over him as he realized he was trapped in this sinister place. The woods seemed to be closing in on him, as if the very trees were alive and malevolent. The air grew thick and heavy, filled with a strange, musty scent that made his skin crawl. He could hear strange noises coming from the depths of the forest, distant howls, whispers, and the faint sound of something scraping against the trees. As darkness began to fall, Jack's fear intensified. He tried to keep his courage up, but the growing sense of isolation and vulnerability was overwhelming. He found himself clutching a worn-out hunting knife, feeling utterly helpless in the face of the unknown. A sudden snapping of a twig behind him made him jump. He spun around, his heart pounding in his chest, but there was nothing there, just the darkness and the eerie silence that seemed to amplify his fear. A chill ran down his spine as he realized he was not alone. He could feel it, a presence that was watching him, waiting for the right moment to strike. He tried to ignore it, to convince himself that it was just his imagination, but the fear was too real. As the night wore on, Jack's mind began to race. He thought about his family, his friends, and the life he had taken for granted. He wondered if he would ever see them again. Just when he thought he couldn't bear the suspense any longer, he heard it again. A faint whisper, like a breath of cold air on his neck. He turned, his eyes wide with terror, but there was nothing there. Then he saw it. A pair of glowing red eyes, peering out from the darkness. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he stared at the glowing red eyes. They seemed to be coming from the dense undergrowth, but he couldn't make out the shape of the creature that was hiding there. His grip tightened on the hunting knife in his hand, his fingers white with tension. The eyes moved slowly, as if scanning the area. Then they locked onto him. A cold dread washed over Jack as he realized he was the target. The creature emerged from the shadows, its form revealed in the dim moonlight. It was a monstrous creature, taller than any man, with long skeletal limbs and a face that was a mask of pure evil. Its skin was pale and translucent, revealing a network of veins beneath. Its eyes, now that they were closer, seemed to glow with an unnatural intensity. The creature let out a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down Jack's spine. It took a step forward, its claws outstretched. Jack raised his knife, his body trembling with fear. The creature lunged at him, its claws aimed for his chest. Jack dodged, barely escaping its grasp. He stumbled backward, tripping over a fallen branch. The creature was on him in an instant, its claws raking across his face. Jack let out a scream as he felt the pain. He swung his knife wildly, but it struck only air. The creature pinned him to the ground, its weight crushing his chest. He could feel his life ebbing away. Just as he thought it was over, he heard a noise. A loud crack echoed through the woods, followed by a roar of pain. The creature let out a blood-curdling scream as something large and powerful struck it from behind. The creature was thrown off of Jack, its body landing with a thud. He scrambled to his feet, his vision blurred by tears of pain. He looked around, searching for the source of the noise. There, in the dim light, he saw it. A massive creature, even larger than the one that had attacked him. It was a wolf, its fur matted with dirt and blood. Its eyes were filled with a primal rage as it lunged at the fallen creature. The two beasts fought a brutal battle, their snarls and howls echoing through the woods. Jack watched in horror as the creature was torn apart by the wolf. When the battle was over, the wolf turned and looked at Jack. It seemed to hesitate for a moment. Then it turned and disappeared into the darkness. Jack was left alone in the woods, his body aching and his mind reeling from the ordeal. He made his way back to the edge of the woods, his steps slow and unsteady. As he emerged from the trees, he looked back at the forest. It seemed to be watching him, its dark secrets hidden beneath the canopy. He knew he would never return to that place. The woods were a place of darkness and danger, a place where nightmares were born.